up, you guys? It's KeAmber Vaughn, aka CoachKe. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay here. And if you are not new, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be the first of many videos in this Financial Freedom Friday series. Man, that was a mouthful. Well, I go through at the very end of every single month and tell you all about how well I deal with my finances. I'm going to tell you guys about my shortcomings. I'm going to tell you guys about the things I did well, some of the things I can improve on, how much debt I paid off. There's going to be a lot of information in these videos, and these videos will happen the last Friday of every single month. So I'm starting this series for two reasons. Number one, I really wanted a way where I could kind of go back and look at these things that's happened along the way of my journey, because sometimes you kind of forget that, oh, I didn't do well, that month of last year because this was going on and different things like that. So I wanted it for that, to kind of track my journey through videos. But number two, I also wanted to do it for you all. I wanted you all to have a way where you could also watch me on my journey kind of consistently in a certain particular order, because for some of you all, you probably follow me on Facebook. If you don't, you should. But for those of you all who follow me on Facebook, you guys know that periodically I will talk about the different things that have happened on my journey. Hey, I paid off this much in debt, or my credit score has gone up this much. And when it comes to social media, it's very hard for you kind of scroll through all these different posts to kind of find the one testimony you're looking for. So I figured, why not just track my journey through videos? And here we are. I know a lot of people, reach out to me and contact me because they start to get discouraged. Hey, I'm not able to pay off as much debt as I did last month. Hey, I'm not able to save as much because I had this going on, that going on. I wanted to make a way where I could be as transparent as possible with you all, so that you can understand that sometimes I might have downfalls or have things going on as well that can push me back financially too. So this is just a way for me to keep myself motivated and inspired and have some sort of accountability, and also to motivate and inspire you all. And this could possibly be your way to hold yourself accountable on your journey as well. So pause this video, hit that like button, share this video with someone you know, and also make sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, so let's get to it. First things first, I want to first talk about my allocations. For those of you all who are new, you must first understand that my financial plan is not based on budgeting whatsoever. Without getting into too much detail, because this video would literally run forever, basically the way my financial plan works, once I make a certain amount of money in the month, and that money, that threshold amount can change at any point in time. From there on, I allocate every single dollar. I don't care if it's money that I make in business. I don't care if my grandma gives me $10. I still allocate that $10 the same as if it was some kind of commission check from my business. I allocate every single dollar after I hit a certain threshold, and I do that with all of the money basically that I make until the end of the month, and then the next month I start over. So usually in the beginning of the month, I don't pay off a lot of debt because I usually hit my threshold by the second week of the month. But either way, that's pretty much how my finances work. So up until this point, as of today, basically for the last 10 months, for those of you all who don't know, I was able to save $10,000 in the last 10 months. And I'm going to also talk about how much debt I was able to pay off in that same time frame. But up until this point, basically once I hit my threshold, I kept 40% of my income in my checking as a cushion so that it could cover my everyday expenses. And then I put 30% towards debt and 30% towards savings. This was the plan I came up with in November. I think I started this in November of last year. No, in December. One of those two. I started in November or December of last year, and I knew that this would be the plan that I would be on until I fully funded my mini emergency fund and my true emergency fund. If you don't know what emergency funds are, why you should have them, feel free to click the iClouds. I will link a video that is called the 4 financial goals you need to meet in order to become wealthy. Those are 2 of the 4 goals. So anyway, I knew that I needed to be on the 40-30-30 plan until I fully funded my emergency funds. One of my goals this month was to fully top off my true emergency fund of $9,000. I had already topped off my mini emergency fund of $3,000. I believe I did that in March, maybe? No. maybe February, I'm not sure. One of those months, like February, March or so, or maybe even April, I did finish off my mini emergency fund. So the 30% of my checks or my income after allocation since then has been going towards the $9,000 balance I needed to fully fund my true emergency fund. So after I did that, which that is one of the things I was able to accomplish this month, was to top off the last $307.52. At that point, that's when I changed my allocations again. Now, there are two things that I changed this month as far as my allocations and my thresholds. So I actually increased my threshold this month because, for those of you all who have not been watching my vlogs, I actually am moving into a townhouse this Saturday. So I've been living with my parents for the last 2.5 years. Previously, I was living in Texas. Before then, I was living in Athens, Georgia. And so 2.5 years ago, my mother's father passed away suddenly. It was not anything that we were expecting. It was just very sudden. He wasn't sick or anything. And so I dropped everything in Texas and moved back home. Now, usually when I move back home in between cities, I only stay for about 6 to 12 months. So I found no reason for me to get my own place because I didn't expect to be here this long. But with me only having one grandparent left that's living, I just did not want to move away and something happened to her and then I feel like really, really bad. Even when I lived away, I still kept in contact with my grandpa all the time, but he pretty much passed away about 14 months after I moved away. So even though I talked to him, you know, once a week or a couple times a week, it still wasn't the same as seeing him every week or, you know, a couple times a week. So I decided that now I want to live here. The other reason I never got my own place, even like after me being here a year, was because I never really wanted to like stay in St. Louis. I always said I wanted to live away from here, and I've never really felt the safest here. So for me, being a woman, living on your own type of thing, I'd rather just have the safety of being under my parents' roof and knowing that my dad is here to protect me. I'm a daddy's girl. Well, not really. I'm neither a daddy or mama's girl, but I want to be protected by my dad. So this has afforded me to have the extra money to put towards debt and savings because I didn't have extra expenses. So last month I made the decision to increase my threshold, in which I have to hit this certain amount before I start allocating money. I decided to increase that for this month because I knew with moving expenses, having to pay the first month of rent and utilities and stuff like that, I knew that increasing my threshold would help to keep a cushion in my checking account, so that I wouldn't have to borrow from savings or anything like that for like moving expenses and stuff because I've put too much money towards debt or something, basically. So I increased my threshold first. So the second week of this month, I was able to again top off the last of my savings account. And so at that point, not only with the increased threshold, but I also changed my allocation. So instead of it being 40-30-30, I then changed it to 55-45, where I keep 55% of my money or my check in my checking account for, again, a cushion, everyday expenses, and also because, again, I knew the moving expenses and stuff like that would come out of my checking account. And then I now put 45% towards debt because now that my emergency funds are fully funded, I have no reason to keep putting money to savings. Now, I will eventually start putting more money towards savings, but that's for a whole nother video. I'll pretty much start doing that once my credit card is paid off. So that is my whole allocation changes for this month. So on to the next subject. How much debt was I able to pay off this month? This month I was able to pay off $1,194.98, and that included $288.53 towards my minimum payments, which of course is my car note, which is $262.53 a month, and then the minimum payment for my 0% interest credit card is $26. Even though I have 0% interest until next August or September, I just want to fully pay off the credit card and not worry about credit card debt ever again. So with my minimum payment being $288.53, that means that the total amount of extra money that I put towards my debt was $906.45. My credit card balance started off at $1,606.16. That sounded crazy. So $1,606.16 was my beginning credit card balance at the beginning of this month. And now my credit card balance is $673.71. And the total balance of all of my debts is about $12,002. So now let's talk about the things that I did well. Of course, number one, the biggest thing was that I hit my goal of topping off my true emergency fund. So now I have $12,000 in emergency funds sitting in my savings. The second thing that I did well, I ended up setting 3 financial goals this month, one of which was to pay my credit card down below $1,000, which I far exceeded that. The second goal was for me, of course, to finish off my true emergency fund, and I did that. And then I also set an income goal, and I exceeded that as well. So that's another thing that I did well this month. Another good thing is I took on no new debts. As some of you all know, last month, I think it was, is when I purchased the camera that you all are seeing this video being recorded on. And I was kind of stuck in a crossroads, like, okay, well, I have the money to pay it, but also this is 0% interest. I should have really just paid cash, because literally as soon as I ended up paying, using my credit card for this camera, I think like in the next 2 weeks, I ended up putting that same amount towards my debt based on my allocation. So it was like I could have just paid it off, whatever. So I took on no new debt, and I don't plan on taking on any more debt. There is a certain way that I plan to use my credit cards after I'm out of credit card debt, but I'll talk about that in a totally different video. The last thing I did well, you guys, so I talked about a couple of weeks ago how I got to my 755 credit score. I believe that video might have been a month ago. It should be the video titled How to Effectively Trick Credit Card Companies. Again, I'll link it above, and also I'll link all of these in the description box as well. So recently, a couple of days, I got an email from Bank of America letting me know that my credit score has updated. And for a while, whenever I would get those emails, I would be so disappointed, because I would check and my credit score was the same. So I went on there like, okay, well, I have paid off quite a bit of debt this month, so maybe my credit score has gone up. So I have now gone from a 755 credit score to a 777. And I don't know what good is about to happen to me, but luck of the draw, come on. 3 sevens, something good is gonna happen. And the great thing is my credit score going up to a 777 actually didn't include, I believe, the last 2 credit card payments that I made. So my credit score should end up going up again next month. The next thing to transition into are the things that I feel like I could improve on. Honestly, there aren't very many things, if any, that I feel like I could improve on, because I'm very strict with my financial plan. I never waver. I never do anything different. So I can't really say that I have anything I can improve on. Even when it comes to my spending this month, I think I only spent like less than $700 just in like groceries, going out to eat, entertainment. Recently was my dad's birthday a couple of days ago, so I had to spend $80-something for his gift. So that took up quite a bit. And then I did do a little bit of shopping the other day, but other than that, I mean, $700 is not a lot in expenses. And of course, that doesn't include like all of my debt payments and stuff like that, but just regular expenses only have $700 for the month. So I guess I could improve on that a little bit. And the other thing is I want to make sure that I continue to keep my expenses pretty low. I know when you live on your own and stuff, a lot of times you have a little bit more expenses. For the most part, I do pay my groceries here. But I do, like, my mom pretty much buys the groceries, or my mom and dad buys the groceries for like dinner. So the other meals that I have throughout the day I pay for them. So the only added expense that I'll have as far as grocery goes just is what I pay to make my own dinner, I guess I could say. So my expenses will go up a little bit, but I do want to make sure that I keep my expenses as low as possible so that I don't put myself in a financial bind. And with the way I do my finances, even with me knowing that I'm moving and I have to shell out all of this money for a deposit and stuff like that, I should still be in a position where I don't have to worry about what my account balance is. I still don't know the total cost of the movers. I think that my dad's just not telling me because maybe he wants to take care of it. I don't know. I keep asking him every day and he's like, no, everybody. So I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so I don't plan to have like a insurmountable amount of expenses or anything. So I think I'm good there. So my goals for next month, number one, I want to either pay my credit card completely off or at least be able to knock off about half of the balance so that the credit card is completely gone in November. My original goal was to have it paid off in December anyway, so I'm already still ahead, like way ahead of schedule. I honestly think based on the numbers this month, I should be able to still pay off about the same amount next month, as long as I make around the same income next month. Pretty much because the way that I increased my increased my threshold to where it's gonna be once I move into my townhouse. So it's like this month is based on what my expenses will be from here on out, if that makes sense. So I believe I can completely pay it off, but at least as long as I pay it off by November, I'm okay. But that's my goal, is to pay it off next month. Another goal that I have for next month is to replenish my checking account. Again, with me moving and stuff like that, I know my account balance will get, well, I don't want to say get low, because most people think of low like, oh, I only have $300 to my name. No, I like to have a certain amount in my account no matter what, as kind of like a buffer and a foundation. So as long as I stay around that, I'm okay. I probably will go a little bit below that, just because there's so many things I have to take care of. But I do want to make sure that next month I replenish, and I'm able to replenish my money back into my checking account, to where I'm not, you know, having to worry about things coming out, which I don't worry now, but just with the added expenses, you just kind of never know what's going to come up. And the last goal that I have for next month is to establish my sinking funds. In the video where I talked about sinking funds a couple of weeks ago, I did talk about setting them up this month, and actually that video might have been last month sometime, but yeah, so I talked about setting those up this month. But again, with the moving and everything, I didn't want to set them up yet, because I know a lot of my money is going to have to go into moving in and, you know, buying different things that I don't have anymore, like, you know, buying household supplies and food and just different things like that. So I do want to be able to set up my sinking funds next month, and also be able to start funding them. So last thing is, I want to talk about my net worth. A lot of times you see people talk about paying off debts and different things like that, and while all of that is fine and dandy, I also think talking about net worth is very important as well. Just recently I read an article that said that the majority of minorities, including African Americans and I believe it was Latinos, we will be completely broke in the next couple of decades. And it was just talking about the difference of our net worth as opposed to our counterparts in this country. And yeah, I know that net worth is not really talked about a lot, unless you're talking about like celebrities or you know, ball players and different things like that. But I want to track my net worth as well, because I wholeheartedly believe that in the future I will become a millionaire. And one of the things I can do is come back to this video, you know, years and years and years from now, like, look at where my net worth started. All right, so this month, my net worth calculations are going to be probably a little bit skewed. I try to kind of lowball it a little bit, only because so the way I do my credit card payments, I get paid on Friday, but it doesn't come into my bank account until Saturday. So I wait till Sunday. So every Sunday is when I make my extra payment towards my credit card. But of course, Sunday is October. So it's actually going to end up messing up my net worth numbers for next month, but I'll probably just make the payment tomorrow or probably today, just so it'll show up the correct way and the correct time. So this is pretty much estimates at this point, just because, again, even with moving expenses and stuff, for those of you all who don't know how net worth is calculated, you basically take your assets, so how much money you have in bank accounts, investment funds, different things like that, you subtract your liabilities, and then that comes your net worth. So the other thing is, I had to estimate as far as the liabilities go, because of course, yes, I made my full payment towards my car note, but only a certain amount of that goes towards the principal, and only what goes towards the principal reduces your liabilities, if that makes sense. So last month in August, my net worth ended up being $8,764. And this month, my net worth is $10,326.73. So what I did was I took my assets, I added the commission check that I'll be getting this weekend. I subtracted the amount that I have to put towards the deposit, like basically the check that I have to write out for my new apartment complex. And then with liabilities, I subtracted $233, because I figured about $30 of my car note goes towards interest. And then I also subtracted from my liabilities the last payment, credit card payment that I'll be making Sunday, which is $241.08. And so by doing that, I was able to kind of estimate what my assets and liabilities would be. So that is my current net worth. And this is actually an increase of $1,562.73. So that's how much my net worth has increased since last month, which is pretty freaking decent. And of course, that does not include the expenses that I'll have with moving and everything. So it's just a rough estimate. Starting next month, everything should be back on track for me to accurately track it. I actually use an app, a program that is part of a financial wellness package that has a budgeting tool, and inside of the budgeting tool, it has a net worth tracker. So usually my calculations are exact based on the program getting the numbers from my different accounts and loan accounts and stuff, but this month will just be an estimate. The next thing I want to do is something that I actually saw someone else do on YouTube who has a channel that's all about budgeting, and that is filling out the debt-free chart. All right, you guys, so now it's time to fill out the debt-free chart. I actually started this chart on the 1st of this month, and basically what I did was I took my total debt balance as of November of 2016, and that was $25,511.28. I divided that by the number of lines on the paper, and that got me to get every single line to be worth, or every single box to be worth $510. So every line, you guys probably can't see, every line goes up by $510. So with my $1,200 in debt paid off this month, my total amount paid off is $13,252.28. The two lines up says $13,260, so we're just going to color in there, and I am going to use this pink highlighter to do so. And every month I'll basically use a different color for the highlighter and the color in. And y'all, don't judge me, because I didn't go to kindergarten, for those of y'all who don't know, and I literally never learned how to color, and I don't know how to stay in the lines. Even a couple weeks ago, I was at my grandma's house, and I was coloring in this coloring book she had with some colored pencils, and I even went so far as doing the whole outline first and then shading in, and I still was like all outside the lines. I can't. I just can't. So that is this month's debt-free chart, and I'm hoping that I am completely out of debt by this time next year. It's gonna be amazing. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you all do not know, I post videos twice a week. I do weekly vlogs that are posted every Tuesday, and then the Financial Freedom Friday videos are of course posted on Friday. Make sure you come back next week, as I will be starting another new series of videos that I'll be doing the first Friday that you do not want to miss. Again, like this video, share with anyone you know. Feel free to leave comments and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.